Here we have Easygamer's idea of what you really need to do 2K game. It's P1440. What we've basically got here is we've got a good place to start computer still with a 970 G1 gaming. But let's run through exactly what it is again. For case, we recommend the Master Case Pro 5 from Cooler Master. It's an excellent case. We've used it in all our builds so far. It really gives you a very nice, easy to work on setup that's very neat and very customizable. For power supply, with the 970, we're still using the VS550, which is more than sufficient for this card. Then, if we look at the motherboard, we've got the Gigabyte Z170 XP SLI motherboard. This is not the cheapest motherboard in the market, but the reason why we specifically go for the Z170 chipset is you get 20 PCI Express lanes, meaning you could run a high-end graphics card and still have 4 PCI Express lanes open for either something running PCI Express through USB 3.1, or if you're running a M.2 slot SSD in there. In detail, what's on the motherboard we'll go through when we get inside the computer. Then when you get to this kind of level, you can still get it with one 8 gig DIMM, but we rather recommend going for 2. It's then you have 16 gigabyte of DDR4 at 2400 megahertz, which in all our tests seems to be sufficient for this setup. CPU, we're still fine with our i5-6600, which is a 65 watt TDP CPU. Basically, your laptop i7s, you're looking at a 15 watt processor, whereas this is a 65 watt. So even though it says it's an i5, it's hugely more powerful than what you would get in a laptop. To put it in perspective, the next one that gets higher than 65 watt is only the 6700K. Then you jump into 91 watt, which is a decent boost. Only other difference between the i5 and the i7 is that the i5 doesn't have hyperthreading. Now, for gaming, it's not that important. It's basically both the i5 and the i7 have 4 cores, but Windows sees the i7 as an 8-core processor, but all it actually is that you've basically got 2 channels into each core. It's not actual extra physical cores as such. And as we said, it doesn't seem to be a bottleneck at all running the i5 on this, and you save quite a bit of money with it. We do have the i7 available as well, but as I said, it is a bit of a premium. Then the 970 G1 gaming is a great card. I mean, the 970s, to give you an idea, it's the most popular card on Steam. Steam, you can actually draw which cards most people use. So if you're looking for a proper gaming PC, the 970 is a great option. They've come down quite a bit in price, which specifically for this build really does help. What you could look at as alternatives, which we'll offer when the right versions become available on the market, is the ATI the RX 480. It's very, very similar in performance to the 970. So at the end of the day, it's a pricing thing. We personally prefer the NVIDIA, but some people prefer ATI. The only reason why we prefer the NVIDIA is we've had both kinds of cards lately, and only in certain games, but for example like Battlefield 4, with the newer ATI cards like the 290, and we've seen it with the 480 as well, you actually get a little bit of frame stutter in things like Battlefield 4, which if you're playing by yourself, you don't really notice, but as soon as you put it next to a computer with an NVIDIA card, you immediately notice, oh wait, it's actually running much smoother. We're not sure why it does this, but it's been a problem since the 290s launched, and for some reason they haven't been able to figure that out yet. Then one step up from this, which we'll also offer with this one when we feel the right ones are available, would be the new 1060. And the 1060 will give you about 15 to 20%, depending on versions, more performance than the 970. But have a look at the videos below to get an idea of what the actual performance is with the 970, and then you can make the call whether it's worthwhile to go for that extra 20% or rather go for something larger in the next step up, but unfortunately then you're looking at a bit of a price leap, something like a 1070 or a 980 Ti. But yes, so that's everything that goes in here. Now let's have a look at what's actually going on inside. When we look at the inside, you can see it's a nice and clean setup we have here. This case is amazing for flexibility. I mean, to take it out and put in a hard drive, you just remove it like this. This specifically is the little toolkit that comes with the case, which gives you all the screws you could ever need and space to store the brackets if you remove them for changing a graphics card or something. These drive bays are completely flexible. It's just 2 screws there, and you can either move them or completely remove them. The larger drive bays as well, you just take them in and out. This one does come with a DVD-ROM. Unfortunately, we're just quickly using that, busy running benchmarks on something else at the moment. Then, if you can have a look, the VS550 fits really nice with the case. The color scheme seems to fit exactly. There's space for the much larger power supplies if you would want to upgrade later as well. A bit hidden away here is a place where basically all the extra cables end up bundling in. You've got 2 bays here for solid state drives, which is very nice, because what we really like about them is if you want more space in front of the graphics card, you can actually move these bays to the back of the case behind the motherboard as well, which gives you a very neat setup. Alright, then onto the motherboard itself. As you can see, it really fills up the whole case with this ATX motherboard. You've got 3 PCI Express 16 slots in here. What we found to be the easiest is to use this second one for longer graphics cards, and then you don't need to move anything of the drive bay. If you're looking to upgrade a power supply and go for 2 large graphics cards in SLI later on, you might have to completely remove this drive bay, as you will take both the bottom slot and the top slot where it would normally be able to fit. But you've got 2 normal hard drive bays at the bottom here, and you've still got your SSD bays and the larger DVD-ROM bays as well. Okay, while we're on connectivity here, you do have a few PCI 1X slots if you want to add in something like a Wi-Fi card on that. And the nice thing is, if you're looking to go that way, you've actually still got 2 PCI slots, which is very nice to have that backwards compatibility, which would be, say, if you have an older computer with a Wi-Fi card in or something. That is really nice that they've given you the option to still use those older components. But that's a trend with this motherboard, and we like it. It's probably, from what we could see, it's the most backwards and most forward compatible motherboard on the market at the moment. It's one of Gigabyte's ultra durable series motherboards, which here at Easygamer we personally love them. I personally have one that's been running for 10 years as sort of my secondary gaming PC and media PC, and everything else from that generation has either started to give serious issues or has completely died. So we're very impressed with the ultra durable series. Here you can see you've got 4 slots for RAM. At the moment we've got our we've got our dual channel setup here, which is 16 gigs, so it's 8 gig. We'd really recommend going for 8 gig DIMMs and not 4 gig DIMMs, because if you want to upgrade to 32 gig later on, which I can tell you I've done on my computers, it helps a bit, but it's only really for the newer games. But for future compatibility, in a few years' time, you might find that you really do want to have the 32 gig. Then it's a very nice thing to have the open slots for that. If you really want to get this computer to be quick, then this is an M.2 slot. The M.2 is a form factor that can take the sort of bare bones SSDs. But the nice thing is this slot actually has a 32 gigabits per second transfer speed. So you can get insane SSDs. The fastest currently on the market gives you a read speed of about 2,800 megabytes per second compared to a normal SSD of about 500. It's great, insane speeds, but unfortunately comes at a very high cost. Speaking of hard drives then, at the bottom here you'll see the standard one which comes with all our systems. That's a SSHD, a 1 terabyte. Now the SSHD is basically a normal 7200 RPM hard drive, but it's got an 8 gigabyte SSD built onto it. What this does, it just gives you quite a bit faster boot times, and if you're continuously playing certain games or running certain programs, it'll throw it onto the little SSD bit. Now, it's not quite as fast as a real SSD, even if it's on the little built-in SSD, but it does give you a significant improvement in speed compared to normal hard drives. So, if you really want to get the full use of this computer, take a SSD for a boot drive as well. It makes a huge difference. Once you're used to working on the SSD, you'll never go back to a normal drive. Something which is really nice as well, speaking of SSDs, is it's got 6 SATA free slots hidden here, but all of them are configured to be able to function as SATA Express ports as well. So it's either 6 SATA free slots or 3 SATA Express slots. And the SATA Express gives you 16 gigabit transfer speed as opposed to the normal SATA free 6. So when those SSDs become available, it really will be very nice, and it's again great for future compatibility on this board. Other than that, you've got a great sound card built in. It's isolated from the motherboard so you don't get any noise from anything else. It is a very popular board with audiophiles for that reason. With this CPU it's not important, it's got a turbo B clock, which is basically gigabyte overclocking chip, which allows you to overclock in smaller increments. So if you'd rather go for the 6700K, then that is a very nice little tool to have with. Other than that, case runs great, nice and quiet. It's got removable dust covers, which I'll show later. It's got nice handles to carry it. It really is just a very, very nice little setup. But let's quickly have a look at what's going on at the back there. At the back here, we're looking at the motherboard's I/O. It's again very, very nice. Plenty of audio connectors, gigabit LAN. You've got 3 USB 3 ports. Okay, in this specific case you wouldn't be using the onboard, but the onboard is also very nice that it offers HDMI, DVI and the old VGA ports. Here you've just got some regular USB 2, and you've still got a PS2 connector if you have old keyboards lying around. Again, as I said, this is a great board for backwards and forwards compatibility. And the very nice thing for forwards compatibility of this is this red USB port, the USB type A, is actually USB 3.1 port, which is the new standard, which is quite a bit quicker. It's about double the speed of USB 3. And what's really nice, this one next to it here is a USB type C port, which is basically the new mobile standard. It's also USB 3.1, but it has really nice. It's reversible. You can put a lot of power through the port. You've got good transfer speed, and it's starting to be picked up by the mobile devices that this will become sort of the new standard to replace micro USB. So again, for future compatibility, that is very, very nice. If we look at the 970G1, basically connectivity you have there is 2 DVI ports, HDMI, and 3 display ports. So basically, this is a very nice clean setup, as I mentioned, with the dust filters as well. It's just a case of sliding them out, cleaning them, same thing at the front. Get a dust filter here, get a dust filter here. Very nice and easy to clean, keeps everything inside very clean. But yes, this computer, if you're looking to play 2K gaming or looking at P1080, but at the higher frame rate, it's a 144Hz screen, this is excellent. Some games, as you look at the videos, some games you can see you can actually play at 4K as well, although this isn't exactly the ideal computer for that. And of course 2K at the higher frame rate is also doable, but not for all games.